Welcome to the land of soaring mountains, wild coastlines, hearty stews, villages lost in time, and uniquely poured local drinks. I think this might be the most underrated place in Spain. Tucked in the country's far north, it's off so many people's radars, but not off ours. So join us as Yoli, Lucia and I discover the nature, culture and gastronomy of Spain's best-kept secret, Asturias.
I feel humbled.
And first up, the wild Asturian coast.
This is not the Costa del Sol, people. Oh my God. You walk to the edge and that's what you get. And look at this beautiful, dramatic coastline. This rock formation is incredible. Color of the sea, this beautiful green. I mean, it feels like the end of the world almost looking out there.
But Asturias coastline isn't merely dramatic to look at, it's also interactive. It has bufones, these magical blowholes that blast seawater up from the ocean through tunnels and into the air.
Can you hear that? I've been told that you can hear them kilometers away, like 40 kilometers away, in caves where they age the cheese. It only happens at high tide, which is about now, it's just earlier. Wow! 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 That was a good one. It's these rocks here look like dinosaur bones. Look at this coast.
After such a wild and wet welcome, we head to our hotel where, after a good night's sleep, we are greeted with a hearty but healthy breakfast.
So Yoli, what are you most looking forward to on our trip to Asturias?
The food here is delicious and huge sizes. So this is a good, beginning that I can see, lots of it. The landscape, to be in the country, is famous for its mountains and in its rugged coast. And so all of that to be in nature, right?
Over the next 3 days, we'll be exploring the deeply rural and majestic eastern Asturias, an area I've long wanted to visit.
But first, let us show you this gorgeous rural hotel we've booked for our stay.
So welcome to my very humble Asturian home.
It's not humble, nor is it yours, but I like it.
Building is over 200 years old. Check it out. It's got a lovely rural feel to it. So this is the lounge, which is perfectly cozy in the evenings for a glass of wine, for example.
Like last night.
Let me show you upstairs. So there's only 9 rooms and Patricia will be the one serving you breakfast. So it's all in the family. And check this
The views are beautiful.
out. Look at the views.
The views outside the bedroom windows are gorgeous. Make sure you ask for a room with a view. And there's something out there in the garden that I want to show you.
Apart from this very cool maze, there's also an oreo. You'll see these all over Asturias in this shape, and these were for keeping crops off the ground to stop rats and rodents getting into them.
As the rain kicks in, we head north, winding through gorgeous villages and roads cut through the mountain. Handily, a fast train from Madrid has just been launched, taking you to the Asturian cities of Oviedo and Gijón. I recommend using Trainline to book. I'll link to that down below. However, here in the more remote and deeply rural eastern part, a car is definitely handy. But as we drive, the rain clears and the sun comes out, albeit briefly.
Okay, we just had to stop for a sec, stop the car, because we're driving through these most beautiful Asturian villages, and I just wanted to show them to you. Look at this place up here. And I mean, look at this home. It's just, it's mind-blowingly beautiful, just in this environment, this perfect environment. And the village behind, it's just beautiful. Okay, that was a quick pit stop to just appreciate the incredible beauty here. Now, let's keep heading for the coast.
We arrive in Ynes just in time for Lucia's nap, so I head into town for a little solo rainy sightseeing.
This town is beautiful. even in the rain. Maybe especially in the rain.
Like many Asturian coastal towns, Ynes is packed in the summer. But even on this not very sunny day, it's lovely to wander and see the boats idling in the port, the city's 13th century tower.
And if you're interested about buying your own ruin in Asturias, this place, 82 grand. I don't know if it comes with the sheep.
There are few things more Asturian than inclement weather.
What a lovely day, huh?
Yeah, right.
Except maybe for drinking cider and eating cheese. So I meet James in one of Ynes' many sidrerias to try the region's most famous blue cheese and pour ourselves some cider from these unorthodox machines.
Do you know how to use one of these?
Not quite sure, but there's a button, right? So I think it's, you press the button.
You press
and
the
it
button.
works. And I think that's about a culin.
A culin.
A culin. So literally a little bottom.
Okay.
You're meant to just drink it, boom, in one go or two, you know, because otherwise the fish will go. So I'm speaking too much already.
Asturias produces 80% of Spain's cider, and the flavor is wonderfully buttery and bitter.
It is lovely, isn't it?
This is good stuff. I love Spanish cider.
And it pairs perfectly with Cabrales, the region's epically full-flavored blue cheese.
Made often with a blend of goats, sheep, and cow's milk cheese, aged in caves in the Picos de Europa mountains just behind us. If you like blue cheese, you're gonna love that. If you hate blue cheese, you're gonna hate that. Spicy, creamy, sharp, and I'm not talking about yoli. All right. Ole. Ga 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 ga. Cider can.
Ay, a ver.
Oh, you're running out.
Done.
That means it's time to go get lunch.
Let the eating continue, and the rain, but I'm happy to get a little wet to enjoy one of Asturias' most famous and largest dishes, Kcho. Because if there's one thing you need to know about Asturian food, it's that the quantities are gigantic.
So this is a cachopo of 2 yoli hands.
Two joy hands, yeah. The biggest spread too, yeah?
Yeah. Let's cancel the cachopo.
But don't worry, we also got a salad for our sins.
So you've got 2 layers of beef, cecina, which is smoked like cow ham. You get the idea, like jamon of beef. And then in this one, we've got some goat cheese. It's very naughty. This is not the classic. I think the classic would be meltier in its cheesiness. The goat cheese doesn't melt as much, the nature of goat cheese, but it's really yummy. And best paired with...
Lovely splash. Takata. I love the smokiness.
Can I offer you some bread with that? But it seems Yoli has issues with the way I drink cider. Tell
I
me.
have one question. It's like, maybe it's part of the technique to drink cider, but you go like that.
Take 2, James drinking cider.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah, okay.
How was that?
Better. Awkward.
Still weird.
Awkward, a little bit. You're forcing it. Like your teeth come out.
Hey, yeah. Better?
A little better, I guess.
With my cider drinking skills a little bit under a cloud, we head off because I have a date with a mountain man named Felix. Along with his 2 dogs, he's going to take me deep into the famous Picos de Europa mountain range. The name of these mountains translates as Peaks of Europe because it was the first slice of Europe that sailors would see when sailing back from the Americas. And as we pass cows, sheep, and goats roaming the mountainside, Felix tells me about the hardy and dwindling shepherds who make Gamoneo del Puerto, one of Spain's most coveted and expensive cheeses.
Hacen el queso y aquí es donde viven. Y aquí es donde están 6 meses. Lluvia, frío, niebla. Es pura vocación, pero es posible vivir y conservar.
In these huts deep in the mountains, the shepherds spend from April to October alone tending their herds. But they're not just shepherds, they're also cheesemakers. Felix takes me to a replica hut that he's built to illustrate the process.
El queso de jamoneo se hace a partir de leche cruda de vaca, cabra y oveja. Se mezclaban las 3 leches y se ponía el caldero
Sí.
al lado del fuego para que cogiera temperatura.
The shepherds smoke their cheese in these huts for a month and then carry them to secret caves up here in the mountains where the temperature and humidity is constant, and they age for another minimum 2 months, developing an incredible complexity.
Now, having learned about how this cheese is made, you can taste the smokiness from the smoking. You can taste the bluiness, I don't know if that's the right word, from the cave aging. And I guess the different milk from cow, goat, and sheep just adds a complexity to it. So there's a bit of firmness of cheddar in there as well. It's kind of got a bit of everything. And
As we drive through the mountains, we meet a couple of shepherds coming off the mountain with their herds, and Felix tells me about the important work that they do.
Todo el paisaje que estamos viendo hoy aquí es fruto de un trabajo de más de 500 años
de pastores.
de pastores. Y no debemos de olvidar que un pastoreo bien gestionado, como le tenía esta gente,
Sí.
es un compañero formidable para la conservación de los ecosistemas de montaña. Están desapareciendo los pastores de la alta montaña. Pues estaban subiendo del orden de 30, 40 pastores.
Sí.
Hoy en día solamente quedan 5.
And Felix explains that the shepherds grazing herds are critical in keeping the mountain clear of plants and weeds that would otherwise be a fire risk.
Fíjate donde está más amarillo,
Sí.
eso es todo combustible, es fuego.
Ya.
Está el bosque, está el monte tomado. Cada año hay menos pastores
Sí.
y las consecuencias van a ser muy graves. Además, el problema de todo esto es que si desaparecen estos pastores,
Sí.
es una cultura de más de 500 años, pero que no es una cultura que no está escrita,
Ya.
que es de boca a boca.
Ya.
Y eso es un problema,
Sí.
porque el día que desaparezca,
Perdemos.
vamos, un valor importantísimo. Como desaparezcan los pastores, se lleva por delante pájaros, insectos, flores,
Perdemos muchas cosas.
muchas cosas.
Sí. You know, being up here, I almost feel kind of emotional. It's so beautiful. It's so peaceful. I've got the goats here, the horses, the bells, the beauty, the sea behind us, the mountains. You know, when you live in the city, or at least for me, you hear about the interconnectedness of nature, but you just don't quite realize how interconnected everything is until you come and have an experience like this. And you realize that you have to preserve each piece of this ecosystem, each piece of nature, to be able to preserve all of it. It's just so connected. Pues muchísimas gracias.
My morning in the mountains has left me with the appetite of a weather-hardened shepherd. So I head to a local restaurant to meet Yoli and Lucia and taste 2 of Asturias' most famous stews. Yep, it's fabada time.
White bean stew with chorizo, morcilla, some pork belly. When I think of a fabada, I think of a cocido madrileño in the way that it's like, well, you have that and that's it, right? Like, you know, it's a one dish and that's your food. But here it's considered a starter. So you have this and we're gonna have a main course.
A main course,
Which is
literally.
like insane.
Smoky, rich, so good, so good.
It's heaven.
And if one giant stew isn't enough of an entree for you, you can order the other famous one, pote asturiano.
The maybe second famous Asturian stew. This
I'd say so.
Got the blood sausage. Wow. It's kind of like the fabada, but less meaty, a little less fatty, and it has that beautiful green flavor from the berzas. Do you think anybody else in the dining room noticed that we didn't finish our entrees?
It's so embarrassing.
And not that we need it, but here come the main courses.
I feel like I always come to a lunch in Asturias, and what I really want is the fabada. But of course, it's just the first course, and then comes this whole other thing.
We work our way through the delicious stewed lamb and salt cod before diving into the coup de grace, arroz con leche, or rice pudding.
I grew up with rice pudding, and it's just, I love it so much, and it's famous here in Asturias. Oh, yeah.
But no rest for the wicked. While the girls go into a food coma, I'm off to learn how to make and pour cider like a true Asturian.
Okay, so I'm lucky enough to be here just at the moment that they're making cider. This is cider making season, apple cider, obviously. And I've been told about this guy, Pepin, who's in the village alongside this village, and he's making cider right now, so...
But as I'm looking for my cider master, I very happily get lost in one of the very many heavenly Asturian villages.
Here in Asturias, I find little corners, little moments. The environment just keeps taking my breath away. Just here right now, with these beautiful gardens behind me, these beautiful homes, stone homes. It really is a paradise. And a little fact that I find especially interesting and a little tempting, if that's the right word, is that here in this tiny village in Asturias, in the middle of rural Asturias, there's fiber optic internet. To live here in this paradise, but to be able to do your work and be connected, it's kind of like having your cake and eating it.
Okay, time to discover the secret of Asturias' magic potion. First, Pepin shows me his rambling orchard with apple trees spread amongst other plants and grazing animals.
Esto es un cultivo tradicional.
Sí.
Son los manzanos, se mantienen con los animales. Este sistema no se aprecia en el paisaje.
Sí.
Tú lo ves y se mezcla en el paisaje, por eso que no se ven los manzanos, pero manzanos hay mucho.
Vale.
Yo aquí hay 15 manzanos.
Sí.
Esa es la idea del cultivo tradicional. No se satura
Yeah.
de árboles.
Pepin takes me into his cider making shed where production is in full swing.
Esto ya está triturado, lo trituramos ayer.
Sí.
Lo prensé anoche y ahora lo que tengo que hacer es lo saco, lo remuevo bien y lo vuelvo a meter dentro. Ese ya está fermentando, ¿ves?
Aquí está fermentando, vale.
¿Se ve?
Sí.
Después de mayo se embotella y bueno, lo ideal cuando las sidras así de forma artesana
Sí.
es que esté un mes en botella antes de empezar a consumir.
Pepin shares with me his disdain for those cider pouring machines that we encountered in Ynes.
¿Qué piensas de los escanciadores, las máquinas en los bares?
En un bar, en un restaurante, en un mesón, me da igual lo que pongan. Ahora en una sidrería debería estar prohibido.
Because if you're doing it properly, cider needs to be poured in a very specific way. Maybe it's the pour, or maybe it's the company, but it does taste better.
Está muy bueno.
And then the master let me have a go. Brace yourselves.
I got a lot of work to do. My cider pouring machine days are over. The hunt is on for the master list of cider houses, Ciderías in Asturias, where they do it the right way.
Back in the car, we head again up into the Picos de Europa mountains to a place that I've long heard about.
So if you've been studying your history, you'll know that the Iberian Peninsula in 711 AD was invaded by the Moors, who swept into this part of the world from North Africa and conquered much of the peninsula. But they never got a strong foothold here in the far north, because this guy, Pelayo, a local Asturian noble, led an uprising against the Moorish troops that were here. And that battle, tradition holds, marks the beginning of the so-called Reconquista, the Christian reconquest of Spain. Now there's this enormous basilica that was not timed by me, right in the middle of the mountains here. But the basilica in the mountains isn't the coolest thing that's here. There's something else I want to show you. So right behind me is this amazing cave that's in the side of the rock with a chapel in it. They've just had mass in the cave. And the reason is supposedly that is where Pelayo and his troops hid and staged the attack on the Moors. And there's this beautiful waterfall that's falling down here from behind the cave. I mean, it is phenomenal. Look at this. Wow, look at it. I mean, it's incredible. The chapel up there. I wonder if anyone climbs up that ladder. Yikes. And up here is the staircase to the cave. It's called the Stairway of Promise. This is as close as I can get because there's no filming allowed in the cave, but there's a mass happening right now. I'll see if I can find a few images online to show you what it looks like.
Inside is a long, dimly lit tunnel that goes through the rock and reveals the chapel, and within, presumably, the tomb of Pelayo. But our driver is waiting because it's time to go even deeper into the mountain to perhaps one of the most famous places in all of Asturias and of Spain.
Have you been up here before?
If you're a true Spaniard, you have been here. Obviously, I'm not a true Spaniard.
I'm more Spanish than you, Yoli.
The nature is glorious as we drive higher and deeper, and we don't have a choice but to stop and admire the views and introduce Lucia to the local residents.
Hola. Should we go and have a picnic there? In the middle of it? Great views.
Great, wow, yeah. Jeez. It's breathtaking.
We finally arrive at the famous lakes.
We've gotten out of the van, now we're going to climb up to what I believe are the best views here. It's pretty windy, Yoli.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And I love how in this ultimately incredibly remote place, there is a bar. There's always a bar in Spain.
Oh my God, we're gonna be on the news.
Take my hand! Wow, I mean, it's incredible. One lake, the Lake Enol, and then over here, the other one, Hercina. It's beautiful.
These lakes were formed tens of thousands of years ago as glaciers retreated from the mountains, and their majesty perfectly sums up for me the dramatic scenery throughout Asturias.
How does this make you feel?
I feel humbled. You know, nature and people in one, you know. It's just like amazing entity. And the horses.
And the horses.
Check out the horses. I'm off to the bar. See you later.
The Spaniard's going to the bar. You know, I'm from New Zealand, the home of Middle Earth. Even as a Kiwi, I am just blown away by how Tolkien-esque this environment is. It's just mind-blowing. You know, and Asturias' slogan is Paraíso Natural, natural paradise. And I just didn't expect the level of beauty that we've experienced over the last 3 days. And if you want to check out some more videos we've made from northern Spain, check out this one up here, and we'll see you over there in a moment. Ciao, see you in Asturias.
By the way, we did find a place where they poured the cider properly. It's called El Polesu in Cangas de Onís, and it's awesome.